Talking about some games, Skyward Sword, some Pokemon MOBAs. Matt,
Pokemon
hello.
Unite. Yeah, dude. What's
Say
up?
hello like we haven't just been sitting here talking for an hour.
Hi, guys. You know me. You know him. It's Matt and Matt. We're talking about games. Matt was playing Pokemon. Or no, you're playing
I
Skyward
was playing
Sword
Skyward
HD.
Sword. I was
Yeah, how's that?
pretty not that excited to get this because actually, you know what?
Never.
I was excited to get it because I feel like I have a long history with Zelda, but I actually don't have a very complete history with Zelda. I
Sure.
think that the NES Zelda, the first one, is pretty interesting. Never beaten it,
Yep.
but like what a cool template. Zelda 2, I got almost to the end. It's really difficult, very fascinating game, just like pretty challenging, almost like the first Dark Souls. Link to the Past,
The Dark Souls of the Zelda universe.
it is. I
Zelda
mean,
2.
because like horrible things come running at you in the dark. Link to the Past.
Just like in Dark Souls. All the horrible things in the dark, Matt.
Well, I feel like I
I'm just
had my
giving you
Dark
shit.
Souls face when I played Zelda 2. Where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what's coming next? And then all of a sudden, like a fox comes jumping at you with a knife, and you can't run around them in Zelda 2. It's two
I
dimensional.
must fight this man.
Yeah. And he's up and down and up and down. So it's very, and also in Zelda 2, you have to think about when you upgrade, you can like health, magic, attack power, and then your next upgrade is super expensive. It did a lot
Yes.
of cool things. Anyways,
Did you do Link to the Past? You played Link's
Link to the
Awakening
Past. I
on
thought this is going to be great. Everybody loves this game. It's like it's a
yeah.
fun game. It's like very cozy to get into. But after a while, I just kind of got tired of going to like all the different temples.
And
Ocarina of
you did Link's
Time. Sorry.
Awakening? You did Link's Awakening on Switch, yeah?
Oh yeah, Link's Awakening.
Can you hear me
Right.
okay?
I can hear
Okay.
you great. I can hear you great.
Okay. Yeah, silly. Getting old there, losing your hearing. Link's
What?
Awakening. I remember that game came out on Game Boy Advance.
Sorry. Who are you? Link's
Huh?
Awakening was blew me away how
You need a
shit
walkthrough,
that
correct?
game ran.
Yeah.
What's with the frame rate?
It looked cute though, dude. Like
It was very cute. It was a
I
beautiful
yeah,
idea.
claymation.
I think it was designed
Anyway.
for the Switch Pro or something. So we're working our way through here.
Oh,
Ocarina of
LG.
Time blew my
Banger.
mind. That's probably the first Zelda I beat. You're a big fan of that one?
It's one of the best games of all time. If you catch me on the right day, I'll say The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is the best game ever made, but it changes.
Okay. I'm excited to go back to that one. Majora's Mask, I kind of bounced off in the beginning, went back again, kind of bounced back again. I don't have
You
a
want to
big
hear a funny story about
yes.
Majora's? So Majora's, like I say, Ocarina of Time is one of the best games ever made. I play Ocarina of Time every year around Christmas time because nostalgia, and I'm lame. But every year I have a joke. Recently, it's been called Majora's Majarch, and every March I try to finally beat Majora's Mask
Right.
because I've never done it. And every year, without fail, I play it, and sometimes I get through like the swamp area, sometimes I don't. This year, I did everything 100% leading up to the swamp. I did the entire swamp dungeon 100%. I am sitting at the beginning of like the ice dungeon, which is like the mountain or whatever.
Mhm.
I have never beaten Majora's Mask. I've seen a lot of the game. I think I've beaten it up to like the very, very end, and I watched my older brother do it a bajillion times when we played that game on N64. But no, I've never beaten Majora's Mask, which is weird because it's basically Ocarina of Time, but with more time travel and masks.
Well, yeah, but it's a little different because it's I mean, Majora's Mask is pretty brilliant because they thought we need to use basically all these like same assets and then make a new
Yep.
game out of it. But what was cool is because all the characters were on this 3-day schedule, they could have way more interesting lives and routines and just
Yep.
like they did different things every day. Whereas in Ocarina of Time, nothing really changed and they would move around and chase a chicken around, but most people were just kind of standing around waiting for you to come up and talk to them.
This is why the reason Dead Rising on Xbox 360 is a good game, and you can't tell me otherwise, Internet. That's a good. Majora's Mask and Dead Rising have very similar things of like, well, if you miss this thing, you got to go all the way back.
Okay.
But that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, because
is-
majority you really have to you have to do a lot of things in a row, right?
Yeah,
To fully
do this
finish
on
it.
day 1, do this on day 2, to then unlock the door on day 3.
But it's an interesting philosophy behind it because it's sort of Majora's Mask. Nothing matters. You fix the poisonous swamp, but it'll always go back to being the poisonous swamp.
On the first day, you got to play this song. It's funny actually that I was way into 3D Zelda, like Ocarina of Time, but I wasn't really into 2D Zelda until later in my life.
Right.
Like when
It's 2000.
Link, what was that one called on 3DS? Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
That is probably my favorite 2D Zelda, which is might seem blasphemous to some people, but then those who have played it would be like, "Yeah, you're right." Um, I kind of have fallen off recently with Breath of the Wild, which would be a whole nother video, but
Okay.
Skyward Sword is kind of where I started to go like, "This ain't my Zelda. This is the new kid's Zelda." But Skyward Sword still had a mix of both like classic Zelda and new ideas.
Well, I
I didn't
think
really enjoy
I
it the
think
first time around,
originally
though.
we were just going to talk about Skyward Sword, but I think this is pretty fun to talk about sort of the history of Zelda and where it's gone.
Yep.
And because I started with Ocarina, loved it, and I feel like I never found that same itch getting scratched with other 3D Zeldas. Twilight Princess, interesting, sort of big cinematic set
Oh,
pieces.
wow. I forgot about Twilight Princess. I haven't beaten that either. Isn't that game like 60 hours?
I don't know. I never got to the end either.
Oh, I put more hours into Wind Waker than Twilight Princess, which is funny because everyone was like, Wind Waker's for babies. And I'm like, yes, baby game. Let's go.
Well, I mean,
I like
but
the art
I mean,
style.
that was so. Those guys were the real babies that were like, oh, why does it look like it's? Because that looks so amazing. You look at any of the old Zelda games, it holds up spectacularly. Zelda Link is so expressive in it. But again, like I got through probably 3/4 of Zelda games. I find I love seeing the world, the music, the action, the puzzles, and
Yep.
near the end of a lot of Zelda games, there tends to be a lot of like you gotta go get the thing to get the thing to get another thing, and there's
Yeah, Wind Waker specifically and Twilight
yeah.
Princess. It's like you did the thing, now collect 20 things. The whole reason end game Ocarina works for me is because it has the Spirit Temple, which is my jam, and then the end of Ocarina is a mini dungeon thing. Matt and I talked about Click Clock Woods from Banjo Kazooie, how that's like one of my favorite levels. Same thing applies with Ganon's Castle. It's because it's a small hub world within the hub world that goes to small challenges, and then you get the final boss. Whereas Majora's Mask and a bunch of other Zeldas are like collectathon, and you're
Mhm.
like, no thanks, please.
Well, I thought that I was never going to get. I thought either like maybe I just don't like Zelda games, or maybe I'm too old for them. But
Maybe it's me.
or maybe it's Maybelline. And then
Yeah.
when Breath of the Wild came out, I was blown away. I love it. It's my top 3 games probably of all time. I just loved it. But as I was playing Skyward Sword, and I
Where are you?
realized,
You say Skyward Sword, not Skyward Sword. Breath of the Wild is one of your top 3 games ever made.
yeah,
Damn. I I wish I could have that opinion.
the thing with games that I've realized over the last few years is
I was
that
trying to say that the nicest way possible.
yeah, no, but like I totally get it because when I'm playing Skyward Sword, I understand that, man, if you love Zelda dungeons,
Hell yeah, dude.
you're gonna hate Breath of the Wild, probably, because like the same dungeons and puzzles are just not there. I was talking about this when we were streaming Skyward Sword. I thought, why was Breath of the Wild a Zelda game? Other than just we want this to be a flagship. This is gonna be up there with Mario in terms of money and time. But I think they kind of missed an opportunity where that could have just been a brand new thing, and then you could have kept
Yeah.
making Zelda games.
Well, they wanted you to be able to ride around on horses, and then when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out and it's the Majora's Mask of the Breath of the Wild kids, then it'll be all
I don't think I don't
it's
think they'll do that. I don't
bro,
think they have
they're
the
saying
balls to do that.
Breath of the Wild 2, look at the leaks, look at the reports. They're like, Link can travel through time. That's Majora's Mask. They're doing the Majora's Mask thing. They're taking the foundation that everyone loved, Breath of the Wild, aka Ocarina, and they're adding time travel to it to add a bunch of craziness, aka Majora's Mask and Breath of the Wild 2. That's
Yeah.
the Nintendo play. Whether or not it'll work out the same way as Majora's Mask did, look, I'm not going to say. I'm sure
I
Breath
just
of the
don't
Wild
think
2
it'll be as drastic because I mean, I saw the bits where Link is kind of going through something and then he uses time travel to kind of go up. I think they're going to use that as a bit of a puzzle solving technique, but I don't think it's going to
Yeah.
be as drastic.
Well, Majora's Mask, the time travel was like very intrinsic to the puzzle solving, and then you had like the N64 era stuff where it's like, we're not going to tell you shit. Go figure it out on your own. Whereas Zelda's like, or Breath of the Wild is like, you know what you have to do because you only have 4 abilities. It's more about figuring out the individual
Yeah.
puzzles. So that's probably why the time
Oh,
travel stuff, if it's true,
It's the
will work
best
out
design.
better
It's
for
like
Breath of the
Rocket League, where Rocket League you can do incredibly interesting things, but there's really only gas, boost, jump.
Did you just compare my beloved Rocket League to the
Yeah.
behemoth monstrosity that is Zelda Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
And make me believe it? All right, Matt, this is why I like you, bud. It's because you can draw the lines between the lines that I could never dream of drawing. Whoa, what a quote. Put that on a fucking poster and sell it.
So let's talk about Skyward Sword. We've gone through our Zelda history.
Yeah. Never played
I
Oracle of Seasons or Ages. I hear those are bangers. That's why they did the Pokemon Red and Blue thing, where it's essentially the same game, but in one you control time, and
right.
the other one you control
Well, it was
seasons.
pretty amazing when Nintendo was
Minish Cap dope,
letting
though.
Capcom make Zelda games for their
Wow.
handheld systems.
Okay, yeah.
I think Minish Cap is the Capcom one. If you haven't seen it, we have a Let's Rank Zelda video on here where me and all the chat put our votes in and compile it, and we talk about everyone. So I went back and played like an hour of all those handheld games. I think I like that they kept making those ones, those top-down, real quick, where it's just a bunch of arcadey action, go into a temple, kill everybody, and get a key.
And that's where they get inventive with like the storytelling and stuff too. Like one of my favorite Zelda games is a Zelda spin-off. It's Zelda or shit, what's the name of the original? It's Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Oh, okay.
Hyrule, whatever. I can't
Yeah.
remember the Cadence of Hyrule.
That's it.
If you haven't played it, Matt, you should at least go on Spotify and look up the OST, and you will absolutely fall in love with it. It's like if you take the core Ocarina of Time melodies, like Gerudo's Forest, and then you're like, okay, now let's orchestrate it both like with really good acoustic guitars, and then there's a whole battle version of it where it's like either metal or like EDM at a higher BPM. As a musician, you'd love the Cadence of Hyrule soundtrack.
That makes perfect sense. I don't know why I never played that, because I like Crypt of the Necrodancer too.
Oh, if you like Crypt of the Necrodancer, like that was the thing. I didn't like Crypt of the Necrodancer, but I was like, I'll play Cadence of Hyrule because I love Zelda, and that's the game that got me into it. But if you like Crypt of the Necrodancer, you should 100%. Matt, should play.
If people don't know what it is, Crypt of the Necrodancer is a rhythm game, but it's a dungeon crawler, and you have to do your movements up and down and left and right and attack
on the beat
and shield.
Of the music. So the music is super, super. Yeah. Oh man.
And you could also put in your own custom songs into Crypt of the Necrodancer, which was really cool.
Skyward Sword, though. Let's talk about Skyward Sword.
Right, yeah, the most exciting game that we can't help talking about other games.
You can fly on a big bird and then go get pumpkin juice from that one island. That was a fun quest.
Everything I saw and heard in Skyward Sword, I loved. I was blown away by how charming and engaging the story was. I never thought I'd say that about a Zelda.
It's the best part of Skyward Sword.
Because I'd heard so much like, oh, it's front loaded with a bunch of tutorial and a bunch of story, and I was totally into Groose. I loved it. What's happening with Zelda, with that guy who wears green. It's but then when it came down to actually playing it, I just felt like Nintendo did this thing in the Wii where they had a lot of new people playing the Wii. It was one of their best selling console of all time. So like I said when we were talking last time about how the Wii actually came with an instructional video DVD on how to play
for Galaxy.
Mario Galaxy. So I felt like this was like that, where it was really dumbed down. Plus they were introducing the Motion Plus, which was a gimmick. So you've got to come up with this brand new combat system that has to work, and you have to use that for all the puzzles.
They switched Zelda, oh my god, I almost called him Zelda. They switched Link's sword hand in Ocarina. I believe he's left-handed, and then in this one, Skyward Sword, he's right-handed because most people are right-handed.
But I felt like with this one, it was just so tedious, where first off, there are a lot of puzzles. Usually in a Zelda game, you're going into a dungeon or a temple, and that's going to be a couple hours or maybe 45 minutes of like solid, a lot of brain thinking, moving things around. What was in this room, that room? And then you usually emerge and you get to go to a town. There's just a lot of like fun, kind of more brainless action. But I found in this one, you go to this desert area, and the whole desert area is a puzzle. And it's a slow-paced puzzle with quicksand, and you have to wait for your stamina before you can run across. And then there's enemies that turn electric, and then you got to wait for them not to be electric. Oh, you hit one when they were? You have to wait for yourself not to be electrified. And you need to wait for
the desert that got you?
That's when I started getting worn down, like because it's very smart. But I was like, I'm just tired of waiting for platforms. And then I went the wrong way and I had to walk around the whole desert. And then when you're kind of like exhausted of that, they go mining facility, more puzzles.
Yep. That's like the first when I look at Skyward Sword in my head, it's like the beginning when they're like, "We're at the How to Be a Link Academy," and you're flying in the sky. That's like a fun little self-contained section, and I really enjoy that for what it was. In fact, if they had like that as its own game, where you're like a Harry Potter boy in Zelda world or something, you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
going to a
Link is a
school,
boy. Watch him grow up.
he's learning stuff, and like Zelda's a cute crush who's in the other class. Anyways, that's a weird fanfic I have in my brain. But then they're like, all right, here's the first chunk. It's like go to forest, go to volcano, go to desert. And like you were
Yeah.
saying, mining facilities like the cap of that. And they're like, did you like that? Okay. Now go to the forest, go to the elder the volcano, then go to the desert again. And that's where it really sucked it out for me. Even though when you go back to the forest the second time, it's a water temple, not a forest temple. You don't feel like you're ever
Everyone's favorite.
discovering but you don't feel like you're discovering anything new. It's the dungeon is new, but you're not like in Ocarina of Time. You're not like, oh, I'm going and exploring Gerudo Valley to this new. It's like, no, I've been here. It's like if Kokiri Forest had 2 or 3 dungeons within it that you just had to come back to. That's not as
Yeah, it
exciting.
kind of felt
You're
like
using
did they put so many resources into discovering the like how are we going to do this new sword play? Oh, we also need to have more story, and they go.
you have all the floating and stuff too, and the flying. So
That's
they have
right.
like an
Yeah,
open
you need
world
to come up
element,
with a whole
like
flying system that really didn't need to be there.
they added a bunch of stuff. Like I remember the shop. Can't you like upgrade your different like your hook shot
That's
and you can
right. You can find different. You can sort of like harvest different creatures, bug catching, and then you use those to upgrade your stuff. A lot of ideas we would see done correctly in Breath of the Wild later on.
I think this was their leapfrog, eh? They're like,
Yeah.
if the Wii U was their leapfrog version of the Switch, the Skyward Sword is the leapfrog version of Breath of the Wild, the one that didn't quite get it right, but some people still love. So yeah,
And it
I
did
think
have that leapfroggy Fisher Price. Whenever you collect something and they add it to your kind of scrapbook, it's like, this looks like something a 4-year-old looks at.
like you're playing on the Wii. Congratulations on your first Zelda get.
Yeah, and it's 480p back then. It was standard definition. This is in 2011. Skyrim and Dark Souls were out, and you're looking at these, and everything's like very big because it needed to be. Otherwise, it would be too blurry to even read.
Skyward Sword, I believe, was the first thing that supported 720p because I remember people coming into GameStop looking for
Okay.
composite cables, and it was like, I was like, why? And like, I want to play Skyward Sword on my HD TV, and I was like, why?
Okay.
Either way,
Cool.
what I've been interested about specifically, we keep kind of beating around the bush with the motion controls, but that's you were like, I'm controlling the sword, so if I go up, it's gonna go up. And with the Switch version, they got rid of that stuff. I'm assuming
Well,
that's how you're
it's
playing
still
it,
there,
traditional
but you can play
controls.
both. You can do the Joy-Con motion style,
Yeah.
or you can
How have
play
you
with
been
just
playing?
controls. I did both, and you
Yeah.
know, even though it's dumb, it is engaging. It is
Yes.
engaging to like you see an enemy in the screen and to raise your weapon up and just be like, "Fuck you!" and just smash down.
It's fun for like the first 12 hours.
But yeah, but the thing is, they know that it's not perfect. So Link
Yep.
starts with so many hearts. I'm looking
He
at my
does.
first video here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. Way more than he's ever started with. They're constantly throwing hearts at you.
I think. 3?
Yeah, because they realize this just isn't very accurate.
Baby
And
game.
yeah, well, and they're like, we're just like they'll constantly give you hearts after a battle because they realize like, yeah, we're sorry, you had to use that thing. Also because they want to show him tracking your movement. That means if you just hold the Joy-Con out or the Wiimote or whatever, it's there. But so when you actually go to do a slice, there's a bit of a delay because it has to register first. The hand goes out, then there's the slice.
There's a last boss fight in there where it's like the boss blocks on all sides except for one. And so it's like, all right, I got to hit this slash or this slash. And that is where you really feel the Wiimotes or the Switch's non-sensitivity and lack of tracking because that stuff takes you way longer than it needs to.
Oh yeah, because and a lot of the enemies take like 45 hits, the bigger ones. So playing with it mapped to the right joystick, a lot of it feels really easy. You're like, oh, this is supposed to be way more challenging.
Game.
Well, and also because it's a lot easier to just go than have to swing your Wiimote around.
I don't want people to think that I'm disparaging people who like easier games. In fact, I'm a big fan of baby games is like an endearment term for me. It's like I enjoy games that are easy. I'm the guy who plays most of my games on easy. So when I call a game a baby game, if it's like your favorite Zelda, don't be like, but I love it.
But I can see why people would like this. There are a shitload of puzzles, and some of them are
I like parts of it
that are like much too difficult for my brain. Like the dungeon design for the most part is really nice. Yeah, very tiny. It's shrunken down as I grow older. And
Oh, the
so
joys of hitting 30.
yeah, so in terms of if you're into Zelda puzzles, dungeons, and you like the story, there is a lot to like here. I just found you really have to be prepared to take it at a very slow pace, and you need to like
Yeah.
those areas and be willing to go back. And then sometimes, like when I had to go back, you go to this temple you've already been in, and a guy comes out of the dirt and he's like, "I got a key somewhere." And the only hint is go dig in all these places until you find the key. There's no brain power. It's just go in each room, and whenever you see a sand thing, then like the sixth one you dig at, a key comes out. What
You
the
got to
hell
play
is
the game
that?
with a curious mind, but also a patience for repetition. That's like Skyward Sword in a nutshell for me. I still think it's worth, and I've kind of been wanting to revisit it because this is my opinion on the game. And I'm like, maybe if I go back and play it now with all of my years of gaming knowledge, I'll feel. But from everything you're saying, it sounds like what I remember is pretty spot on.
Yeah, and I mean, also, I'm streaming while I'm playing, so I'm a lot more
Sure.
sensitive to moment stuff. And something I notice with people who talk about games they love. So I'll be
Yep.
on Reddit, and people will be like, "Oh, I love Skyward Sword. Oh, but this part's shit. Oh, I hated that." And it's like all these people saying
They love to
they
hate
love the
it, and
game,
they
and
mean
like,
it
but
strongly.
that part was terrible, but they'll look past it. So
Yes.
so I get it that there are going to be parts that are just terrible, but I think at my age, I'm a lot more sensitive to the amount of time that I'm spending on games, and I felt like I'd had enough, and I'd gotten the gist of it, and I appreciated it, and I'll probably look at some more videos of Skyward Sword. I'll look at some
Yep.
Google images of it because it's a pretty
I'll go
gorgeous
on
game.
Google and search the image search of
Yeah,
Skyward Sword alone in my room at night.
yeah.
I don't want. Sorry, go ahead.
Or watch maybe I'll watch somebody else play it. I just don't want to be the one to be
Sure.
playing it anymore. But
Well,
those are my thoughts on it.
I don't want to make this a big discussion about, like review scores or anything, but I think when people say like I love or I hate a game, it's just shorthand for this game made me feel strongly. And we had a discussion not about games earlier, but about movies and how some of them can kind of be like, oh, that was whatever. Those are the games that people are like, yeah, I like it. But the games that really spark emotion within somebody or make them feel or a certain way or rewarded in a certain way, those are like the 10 out of 10s or the games that people will die for. Like you said Ratchet, the new Ratchet and Clank game on PS5, you felt very, very strongly about more so than other games, but not every piece of that game is perfect when you examine it under a stronger lens. So I think people who are like, oh, I love this game, but all these parts are shit. That's the whole thing is it's like maybe they don't love it. They just really enjoy a lot of the experience and they don't know how to put that across because as soon as you attack the game that they love, they're like, no, everything is great. Only I am allowed to hate the water temple.
Yeah. People can be very defensive about it, and people, but you really got to understand that games, probably more so than any other form of media entertainment, are incredibly subjective. And
And
like,
they're interactive too. You can't just
yeah,
sit by during like this in Ocarina. If you don't like the water temple, you can't just sit there and watch the water temple play out
that's
and then
true.
wait for it to
That
be
is
over.
true. Yeah.
You have to go through it. So like, yeah. Either way, Zelda's a good time and everyone should play it and you should play Ocarina of Time. That's the best game of
I'm
them all.
gonna I'm gonna jump into that next, and I'm gonna see if it still holds up and how it holds up compared to this. If it's what are the similarities in it?
It will hold up.
Actually, something I
Will.
was surprised real quick is that this is the first time they had a new director in quite a while for Skyward Sword,
Oh
and this
shit,
is the
really?
guy that went on to do Breath of the Wild. So I think
Wow.
this is a pretty big deal for him. Might have been his first real directed game too.
They should get the guy who was doing it before and then now he could do it.
No, because he perfected it in Breath of the Wild. They gave him a chance. He did it raw. I'm sure they fucked him in terms of like, oh, you got a lot of good ideas there.
Shigeru, right?
Here's your Nintendo Wii. You get to develop it on.
It was Shigeru and then wasn't Iwata kind of into? No, I'm making myself
No,
sound like an idiot.
what's his name? Aofune.
Sure, you know more about video
Now
games than
he's the
I
like
do.
it's that traditional Japanese thing where the first person works on it and
Yeah.
then they age into being the producer, but the
The
director
old
is the one
Final
that really has
Fantasy.
the actual like that's their vision.
We gave the people at the start a tidbit of Pokemon Unite, and then we talked
Yeah.
about Zelda for 40 minutes or what feels like 40 minutes. I love
24
Zelda
minutes and
so
30 seconds. All right, talk about some
hell yeah.
Pokemons. You know, I feel like I was a little older than the Pokemon Revolution. I used to come home after school and watch it, and I thought it's neat. But
Yeah. Did
it's
you
not,
play Red or Blue or Yellow?
I did when I first got into emulators, and
Sure.
all I wanted to do was fire it up and look at it, and I was
Yep.
totally sucked in for a couple hours.
For me, Pokemon Blue was the game I played in like the back seat of my parents' car on the way from like, whatever family thing. So I was like in Pokemon, but I fell out of it relatively quickly. I don't want to say I matured past it because that sounds kind of dickish, but
And
like
is not true.
once I got to like generation 3, yeah, no, I'm a baby. I love the baby games. Once they got to like generation 3, I was kind of out of it.
They
But
were
I
too
like
hard for you.
yeah, no, if I die more than 10 times, then I'm mad and I don't finish
Hmm.
the game. No. Stop, Matt, you're painting me as a bad gamer. Um, I like the world that Pokemon has fostered. I like that they have Pokemon based on things like ice cream and trash cans because that's
They
the
have like
barrel
what
of truth right
400
there.
Pokemon they need to make, so
Dude,
it's they're just looking
8,000.
around the room at that time.
So when I
Pencil.
heard well, yeah, pencil Pokemon, it's a flying type and a steel type because why not? When I heard that they were doing League of Legends Pokemon. Don't get it twisted. That's what Pokemon Unite is. It is a League of Legends MOBA, or if you've played Dota 2, it's that. You have 5 teams or 2 teams of 5 on a map with multiple lanes. In League of Legends and Dota, there's like 3. In Pokemon Unite, there's 2. You can go up, you can go down, you fight people. In League of Legends, as you kill other players or like get damage from neutral NPCs on the map, you'll level up and then you can spend gold that you earn on items to kind of kit yourself out, right? Pokemon Unite says none of that. It's just you level up and then the gold or the points you get for killing people, you score on the other side. There's no like turrets that you have to take down or base you have to take down. There's just scoring spots that you can bank those points in. And it's like 10-minute matches and then when the time's over, whoever got the most kills wins. So it's pretty straightforward. But for me, and for many people who've played MOBAs, you understand that there's a deep, deep learning curve. Like when you play a MOBA for the first 20 to 30 hours, you're probably still going to be like, what am I doing? What is this
Mm.
game? How does this work? And then when you take a game genre like that and you combine it with something that is generally seen as a kid's property, I mean, Pokemon has worldwide appeal across all ages. Um, it's a recipe for disaster because it's a thing that's based on a kind of not a thin property, but it's Pokemon as a strategy game, right? How many kids are going to sit down and really be like, let me learn about what's a good counter pick, like it's
Right.
Overwatch or something. They just want to play as Pikachu and hit the smash button. So like for the first 2 or 3 weeks, if you know anything about MOBAs or anything about League of Legends, you can basically pick a tanky-ish character. For me, it's Charizard that still deals damage, and you can just steamroll everybody in both ranked and casual games. And so playing Pokemon Unite for me has been ultra cathartic, especially after falling out of League of Legends. I have been enjoying smashing the ever living shit out of people with Charizard. It's super simplistic too. Whereas in games like Dota and League, you have like 4 or 5 different active abilities. In Pokemon Unite, there's like 2, and they're
Okay.
usually either spray the guy with a range attack or dash at them. So it's not like you need to do a bunch of combo making in your head. If you really want to get deep into it, it seems like they put a lot of work into the characters and different combos and kind of things and strategies you could pull off. But at a base level, you can kind of just run in there with Charizard or Pikachu and press the A button and have a good time. So as a free to play MOBA, I've seen worse attempts. There was a time in which they did an Adventure Time MOBA, and that was fun for 3 days, and and then no one played it. But I think it's Switch and then mobile. Yeah, if you're
Yeah, because
interested,
I'm
play it
looking at
on
the
Switch.
trailer right now, and my first thought was this looks
A mobile game.
like it's on a mobile. This looks like a Game Boy Advance game. It's pretty simplistic.
Well, yeah, in terms of gameplay, it's very, very simplistic. The graphics look decent. What's weird to me is that it's like a almost like a PC game, right? It's like it plays kind of by cursor, where it's like you press the A button and you can hold it like Diablo to continuously do basic attack. You can
Okay.
cancel. It even has an FPS counter in the top left. and it'll be
Oh,
like
interesting.
29, 29, 20, 30. And if you go into the settings, you can turn it to 60 FPS, but they're like, we don't recommend you do that. Why?
That is
So I
so
played.
sketchy. That's so unpolished.
Yeah, it's like weird. I mean, it's laden with ways you can spend real money. Just like in League of Legends, you can buy a summertime outfit for Pikachu, and that's gonna be $20 or some shit. I mean, I don't know if it's $20 exactly. There's a battle pass you can spend $8 on. So I can see people getting into it.
How is
I've
it
played
as a MOBA?
as a MOBA, it's a baby version of it. When most MOBAs, like I said, League of Legends or Dota, you're a lot of the strategy or a lot of the things you're going to spend time thinking about and getting better at is like, okay, what items can I buy from the shop that will enhance this kind of build on this kind of character? How can I change the meta? When you talk about a game like League or Dota that has hundreds of items that you can buy, and
Yeah.
when you buy them, and what abilities you choose to upgrade at what time, all plays into this grander overarching meta. In Pokemon, they're like, none of that. None of that. You just hit the other guys. And sometimes you'll get into a situation where maybe the other team, one of the characters is doing better. So they're a few levels higher than you. But it's also fast paced and the map is smaller. So it encourages you to kind of go and check out what your teammates are doing. Um, as a MOBA, it does have your standard in most MOBAs, there's like a big NPC boss that'll spawn like halfway through the match. In this, it's Zapdos, and so it gives you a reason to go do things with your teammates. I also like there's a quick chat feature, so you can like hold the minus button on Switch and then use a radial dial to be like, I'm going bottom
Hmm.
path, or I need support, or I need defense. Of course, this is the beginning of a new MOBA, so most players in a random match are just going to run face first into the enemy and not understand how the game works because the game only prompts you with like two basic movement tutorials and then is like advanced tutorials if you want them, but playing the game without advanced tutorials is playing like half the game. Most people are just running straight in, so it's kind of a clusterfuck for the first few weeks. But
For somebody that hasn't played a MOBA, do you think that playing this game would be good training wheels to
yes,
learn a more advanced MOBA? Like the same sort of skills would transfer over?
yes, when it comes down to the basic game or the second by second combat of like, okay, if I'm a ranged character, I need to be a certain amount of distance away, kind of that fighting game zoning gameplay.
Hmm.
When do I use my combo or when do I use this ability? All of those core gameplay elements do transfer over to games like League of Legends or Dota. It's just all of the rest of the systems coming in. Like, what do you buy? When do you upgrade stuff? That stuff you're going to still have to learn. But if you were to spend 20, 30 hours on Pokemon Unite and then go into League of Legends without doing any tutorials, you would still understand the base concepts of defending lanes, trying to group up with people, not taking multiple people on at once. Uh, I have plenty of friends who have shown interest in League of Legends, and after this game comes out, exactly what you say, I will be like, go play Pokemon Unite. A big thing about those more advanced MOBAs is there's hundreds of characters. I think like League of Legends has
Yeah.
120 characters. You've played fighting games, Matt. You know when you first start up a fighting game, if you don't know what the opponent's going to do because you never fought against that character before, you're kind of going in blind, right?
Hmm.
Whereas if you go against Scorpion and you fought him a million times, you're like, oh, maybe he's going to throw his get over here move, right? Same thing applies for MOBAs, but on a much grander scale because they have crazy different amounts of moves. Pokemon Unite has 20 Pokemon, I think. So it doesn't take a lot of time to kind of try each of them out and then know what everyone's doing running in to the battle. Whereas a game like League or Dota, you're going to have to spend hours learning over 100 characters, what their kits are. And it's just so much. So if you have any interest in MOBAs and you like Pokemon as an idea, download Pokemon Unite. I think it's less than a gig too. So it'll fit on your Switch without much issue, which is surprising. I would figure it'd be a few gigs, but I've been
Cool.
having a good time. Do you hate MOBAs? Have you ever tried any of them, Matt?
The only one I've tried is Heroes of the Storm, and I thought it was
HOTS.
pretty interesting. But I enjoy how Blizzard presents their stuff. I know that I think they have an eye for trying to bring in people out from
Yes.
outside. They make things quite accessible. I really got addicted to Hearthstone for a
Yep.
while.
Yep.
So
HOTS is in the same vein. Here's the Storm is like, let's make a League of Legends or a Dota, but instead of it being so fiercely competitive, it's more about working with your teammates to kind of complete objectives. Eh, Pokemon is still a little bit competitive because it's all about kills, but a lot of the same things that Blizzard did with Heroes of the Storm, where it's like, let's bring it on to be more accessible. Let's give people the kind of abilities to know where their teammates are and not have to suss things out and look up things on forums. It's kind of the
Hmm.
same vibe there. I mean, if you liked Heroes of the Storm, yeah, I mean, give it a go on Pokemon Unite. You might find yourself getting drawn into it for a week or so. I
Do you
was in
remember
the
how
same
much it
boat with
was?
you. What, Pokemon Unite?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a startling $0 free, dude, because
Oh,
all
I
those
see. Right. They want you to
microtransactions.
buy the Pikachu raincoat.
But when you start off the game, I mean, you have like your free Pokemon Unite people that you can play. Like you can't play all 20 at once. I think you beat the tutorial and then they give you like a choice. You unlock the ability to play as Pokemon by obtaining their licenses,
Okay.
which you get by leveling up, or you can buy in the store. Of course, they give you both premium currency and non-premium currency. But like I've played 6 or 7 matches and I think I've unlocked 8 of the Pokemon, so it's not like crazy tough to get
Okay.
like all the Pokemon. Check them out.
Hey,
So if you're
was there
interested at all, it's free.
anything good at SGD Dairy Queen 2021 Day 7?
Mm. Yeah, dude. Summer games done quick. The games done quick. People they do the speedrun marathons for charity. Yeah, SGDQ. It's online only once again because of COVID. Usually it's like in person, so that's cool and adds a different element. But because it was online, they had the opportunity to do a lot of speed runs that they normally can't do, like arcade games and rhythm games and stuff like that. So there was VR too. Last year they did a VR speed run. So it's like kind of hard to do a VR speed run on site
Right.
versus in your house where you're already doing it. SGDQ had Bubsy did, I think it was 120 or maybe a 70-star Super Mario 64 speedrun blindfolded,
Oh
which
my
is,
God! Wow.
yes, if you've never seen Bubsy do a blindfolded Super Mario 64 run, that's just worth watching on YouTube alone.
Because
And
I
you
mean,
can go on
like the
YouTube and
two
just type
dimensional
in,
Mario blindfolded is amazing, but
yes,
you it's just infinitely easier when you don't have to worry about the third dimension. I mean,
there's
just
not
you
360 degrees of movement, there's 4, you
yeah,
know?
because you know that as you run, you're going to hit into something. So, like, does he use different sort of
It's
markers?
It's a mixture of audio cues,
Peaking.
knowing where certain corners are. You should watch it, Matt. As a Super Mario 64 fan, you can just type in Super Mario 64 blindfolded SGDQ 2021. Y'all do that too at home if you want to watch it. It's just wild. It's really cool. I also enjoyed they did a showcase of Dance Rush Stardom, which is like a DDR game. They did a showcase of a very, 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 very difficult rhythm game called My Finale. It's
Okay.
basically like a big radial set of buttons, and then you tap them in tune to. If you've ever seen any of those crazy videos of like Japanese arcades where people are playing rhythm games so fast you can barely even tell what they're doing,
Yeah.
it was like an hour and 30 minutes of that. And the dude who was playing the game just kept getting like perfect scores. He's godly at the game. So that was fun to watch. There's a lot of different little ones, and I mean, when you have 7 days straight, because it's 7 days nonstop streamed on Twitch as speedruns, a lot of stuff starts to blur together. Um, but I remember they didn't do any Ocarina of Time this year, which was disappointing. There was a fun Super Metroid race if you like Metroid. Any of the races, when they do the speedrun races, two people start at exactly the same time. I
Yeah,
like those a lot.
that seems like a nice wrinkle to it.
Even if you're not into like the speed run, right? You know, or even if you don't care about the game, it's still fun as a competition because you'll be like, all right, I got that guy or I got this chick. And then
Well,
it's
and it
fun to
also
watch them
gives
kind
you
of side by
something to
side.
compare it to.
Yes.
You know, where you can see. I mean, and like yeah, and you're even seeing like minute differences in the way they're doing
Usually
it.
with the speedrun races too, you don't have the people who are speedrunning doing the commentary. You have extra people who are explaining it, so they'll get more in depth about like how they're doing different abilities. Whereas when you have somebody who's trying to speedrun and do commentary at the same time, it gets a little muddy because you can only focus on one thing for so long. But
Sure.
yeah, I did a whole bunch of articles, one for each day, over at a90skid.com. Just go and look at the speedrun category or type in SGDQ 2021 summer games done quick, or just type in games done quick, you'll find it, and then check out any of those. All the videos are on their YouTube channel and Twitch. um
Okay.
I just don't want to leave out the other. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of speedrun marathons, but ESA 2021, that's the European Speedrunners Assembly. That's kicking off this Friday. I'm assuming this video is going up super, super soon. So
Yeah.
that will be kicking off on Friday, July 23rd and running until July 30th. So if you go on Twitch and type in ESA Marathon, you should be able to find a bunch of people speedrunning. Usually they raise money for the Alzheimer Foundation in Sweden. So that's a nice cause to go towards. But speedruns are fun and giving money towards charity is fun. So like, hell yeah, that was a good thing.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Dude, watch the Super Mario 64 blindfolded thing. You don't have to watch all of it, even if you just like stick around for Bomb Battlefield. It's not like the dude plays it safe either. He's not like gonna run into a wall and run to the next wall. Sometimes it's just like muscle memory and doing a glitch, and you're like, how did you do that blindfolded? It's ridiculous. But how is that he spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours and eventually was able to do it once consistently. And that's what's crazy.
Are you excited at all about a Dead Space remake?
What's interesting to me is that Dead Space 4, or what, all in but name, the people who made the original Dead Space went off and made their own studio, and now they are making a spiritual successor to Dead Space. Because EA has kind of said fuck Dead Space for super long.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they got rid of the studio, right? They closed them.
They shut down Visceral Games. They, as EA classically does, they bought them, absorbed the people they want, shut down the studio, and then the rest of the people had to go off and make their own one. The other studio finally got their Dead Space spiritual successor up, and then this is the year that EA is like, Dead Space remake is happening. I'm not sure if it'll be. There's not a lot that you need to do to a Dead Space remake, right? You don't need to like rehash any of the inventory, any of the balancing. No. Really, all you have to do is put a good coat of paint on there. Use that nice ray tracing to make it super creepy.
I really don't see why it needs to be a remake. I mean, I would just polish it up and put them all together in a compilation. You could probably spend very little money on it, and people would eat it up. I mean, people are talking about this franchise a lot because I think they miss it, and I think that it still holds up pretty well.
And
it did so much.
Scary.
It's
actually scary. Like Dead Space 1 is actually scary. I played 2 months ago, and like the visuals still hold up, but like it's very obviously like early 360. So if they're going for like AAA $60 remake, I imagine they're gonna do all new textures and stuff. I think the thing with doing a whole remake, remaster, and releasing it as its own thing is that Dead Space 2, or was it 3? One of them is like very focused on co-op storytelling, and then they would have to bring back up like new servers, and EA doesn't want to spend money because they're cheap. So I think that's a big reason they do it.
And I mean, Dead Space 3 was also the least liked.
That's where it just became it went to the Resident Evil thing. Yeah, exactly. It became the Resident Evil 6 of Dead Space. I'm excited for whatever that spiritual successor is. I don't know. It's going to be hard to try and find it on Google or YouTube because I can't remember the name.
This is the first that I've heard about it.
The other one, though, it's the spiritual successor. They announced it at, was it PlayStation or Microsoft's E3? Not this year, but last year. Well, PlayStation wasn't at E3 last year. It was something. I don't know. All I know is that it's basically Dead Space in all but name because they don't have the rights to the Dead Space name anymore. But I'm excited for that. And I like Dead Space. So as long as they don't like completely change it for some weird reason, like everything about Dead Space's gameplay works. It's the game that kind of modernized. Like there's no HUD barely.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that felt so good that because you would like click, I think L3 in, he would stomp down on the ground and it would show you that's the objective marker.
Which is what they do in Batman, which is what they do in Assassin's Creed even nowadays. Like, well, I don't know if I'm right there, but Dead Space, you don't need to change. So
no, and it felt very modern at the time, and it felt scary because I loved it that you were just an engineer. You weren't a soldier. You weren't a Marine. You were just somebody going into.
I want to save your wife.
And I love that sci-fi trope of we never heard from them again, and now we have to go in and investigate it. It's such a great start for a story. Speaking
of Dead Space, if you like Dead Space, at SGDQ 2021. There was an awesome Dead Space speedrun. And you might be thinking like, Dead Space, that's weird because as Matt was saying, it's kind of you're just running through this spaceship and there's scary monsters. But with a glitch that involves the pulse rifle, dude is basically able to jump. In Dead Space, there's no jumping. So the way the game plays out is it's basically this weird platformer where he's using pieces of the environment to shoot and project himself off to different areas. And when it comes to speedruns, some people don't like speedruns with glitches because it looks like they're just cheating. Like, I beat the game really fast by skipping to the ending. But some games that use glitches it almost becomes its own kind of game. And the Dead Space speedrun from SGDQ 2021 was really interesting. You take a game that's normally a third-person horror shooter, and it becomes almost like a weird platformer,
Cool.
Tony Hawk kind of like stringing together movement combos. So that
Well,
was pretty cool.
why I would shy away from the glitch speedruns, not that I watch a lot of them, but if it's just a glitch, it feels like, well, that's not actually a skill. But if what you're doing requires a lot of skill to be able to sort of break the game in that way, then that
Yeah.
will be more interesting for
Which
me.
is the ultimate argument with glitches. A lot of like the old glitches on 2D games, like,
Yeah.
oh, I can skip this. A lot of that's like 3 button inputs and then you're good. When you see some of these later glitches,
Like I can
it's like,
speedrun Link to the Past. It's very
sure,
easy.
yeah. A lot of people can do, you can accidentally do like a zip in a Mega Man game or a Sonic game if you accidentally press the wrong buttons, yeah? Like whereas in some of these later games, it's a lot of work and data and research went into the possibilities of breaking the games, and then it's like these frame perfect kind of manipulations of the game programming. But I agree with you too. It's not as fun to see somebody just like do a quick glitch and skip half a level because they're like, I liked that level. I wanted to see how you went through the level fast, not skipped the whole thing. But I
Yeah.
think progressively, as speed run marathons on Twitch have gone on, they're shying more away from those like, I'm gonna beat a childhood classic in 4 seconds to like ways that showcase. Uh, and a lot of games nowadays, speedrun communities have multiple categories because it gets really quickly boring when you're just like, I'm gonna beat the game 10 times over. Like more people want to just play more of the game because they like the game. That's why they started speedrunning it in the first place.
All right.
Like
Well, Matt.
Ocarina of Time, you can beat in 13 minutes now, or I think 11 minutes now, right? But most people don't play that category because they want to speed run Ocarina of Time. They don't want to watch the first 3 minutes, do a glitch, and then watch the last
Yeah,
5 minutes.
exactly. Yeah. I want to see
Either
the
way,
stuff in the middle. I want to go to
I want to see
Jabu
the water
Jabu's
temple.
belly.
Jabu Jabu, baby.
See, I would want to watch somebody speed run the water temple.
You should watch, then you would want to watch MST. Well, I don't know what it's called nowadays. A Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I think it's 100% no something or other. I'd have to find the category, but basically there's a category wherein the speed run requirements are that you have to get all the medallions
Okay.
from where they spawn. You can't do a glitch to like put them in your inventory. So it forces the speedrunner to go through every single temple and then either glitch around within it or complete the temple using different things. So yeah, that's a good. I'll
Okay.
find a video for you, Matt, sometime. You'd
Well,
enjoy it.
AST, SGDQCU, MATT, BYE.
Hey, baby.